So hello friends, in last lecture we discussed about occupancy and motion detector, and more or less the principles used over there. It may be ultrasonic, it may be microwave radar or capacitive type of detectors, or then we discussed about the PIR sensors. So in many applications such principles are used. So the next sensor that we are going to discuss is the position, displacement and level detectors. Position, displacement and level detectors. We will try to understand what do you mean by position, displacement and level as we proceed with the lecture. So there are many applications. If you want to find out the physical objects, then there are many applications where you want to identify the position, displacement or level of a particular liquid or particular object, then where you will be using such kind of detectors. So most probably it is used in process feedback controls, where you want to identify a particular action is taken place or not, or assembly line, where you want to detect a particular product is moving on a conveyor belt, and that conveyor belt is trying to find out whether the container is full of liquid or not. That means the whether is liquid is filled full in bottle or that pack. If it is not filled full, then in that case that packet gets rejected, and such kind of applications are there. Then performance evaluation, obviously this is a performance evaluation, this is against again a quality check type of system, so you will be checking this performance evaluation. Then transportation traffic control, you may use it, robotics you may use it, then security system also you may use it. So whenever there is an displacement, or you find a level is also there. So if your overhead tank, water level overhead tank is full, so you can put the level of overhead tank in a proper way. You can maintain it so that there will not be any burden on the tank, and the pressure will not be or the tank may not overflow, so you can save the resources also. That is also possible. So these are the applications where we can use the position, displacement and level detectors. So let us understand what do you mean by position. So position means a determination of object coordinates. It may be a linear or angular with respect to selected reference point. So where exactly that object is standing, you may find it out in x direction, y direction, or you may find a xy coordinator like that. Then displacement means a moving object from one position to another for a specific distance or an angle. That means object is moving. Let us say, I'll show you. Let us say this is an object and it is at its reference position, let us say x, and it is moved towards this direction with small x as a displacement, and that displacement is called as a x plus x. Okay, and with respect to, let us consider this is what reference you are taking. With respect to this, you are going to reduce it. So x plus x is your direction if the object comes over here. So this is a displacement. So you have to check the object reference with its own prior position. So this is how you are going to measure the displacement. So here it is again written, the displacement is measured when an object is referenced to its own prior position rather than to another reference. So this is its original position, this is its original position, and this is its next position. So whatever may be the distance covered is called as a displacement. So with its original position, if you calculate the distance, that distance will be known as or the measured quantity is known as displacement. Okay, that may be a linear displacement, that may be a angular displacement. So you can measure an angle or you can measure a distance. So that is quite possible. Okay. Then the position and displacement sensors are static devices whose speed, actually there are two types of devices, static as well as dynamic, but here we'll be restricting ourselves to study the static type of devices whose speed response is usually not critical for the performance. And if you want to go for a performance evaluation, real time evaluation, then in that case you may be requiring dynamic type of devices or detectors. So our focus will be on static devices. We'll try to study. Then in that case, when you are designing particular position or displacement detectors, following questions need to be answered. We have to answer the following questions. What is that first question? How large the displacement is and what type of it is. That means if it is a linear or if it is a circular. Accordingly, you have to choose your detector. Then what resolution and accuracy you will be requiring. What distance you want to measure, whether you want to measure the distance in terms of mm or cm, centimeters or meters or less than that. So accuracy and resolution is very important part for displacement and position. Then what objects you are going to measure or what kind of objects you are going to detect, whether it is a metal, whether it is a plastic, whether it is a fluid or ferromagnetic. So depending on that your application, your detector may be changed or the principle may be changed. Then where you will be putting this detector, where you will be mounting this detector, whether the space is available to you for mounting such kind of detectors or not, that is also important. But these first three questions are very important. How large is the displacement and what kind of what type of displacement it is, resolution, accuracy, and what object you are going to measure. These three are very important. Space availability, it depends on again on your application. So how much play is there between the object and your sensor? Because in industry, when you are putting a sensor on a conveyor belt, at that time there will be an activity, there should be a proper play, so that detecting range should be decided. So the distance between the object and the your sensor, that detecting range is also important. Then environmental conditions, what kind of environment in which you want to use this sensor or detector is again important. Whether it is a corrosive type of environment, vibrations are there, any interferences are there, temperature, the humidity, all these parameters are going to affect. Then how much power is required for the sensor is another question. Then is there any mechanical wear that will take place over the expected lifetime of your machine? So if any wear tear is there, then in that case after every certain period you have to replace your sensors so that the accuracy will be maintained. Then what kind of production quantity in which you will be using this, the medium, the mass production, the limited number of production, depending on that also your sensor sensitivity and the sensor type will be decided. Then obviously the target cost is another factor which you need to consider. So these are the questions you are supposed to ask yourself before selecting a particular position, displacement or level detector. Okay, next. So we are going to see the first position or displacement detector is potentiometric sensor. Potentiometric. So you know that a variable resistor, we call it as a potentiometer. So variable resistor, it may have a linear displacement or it may have an angular displacement. So that is called as a potentiometer. Okay, so it is generally used for position or a displacement transducer, and it is known as potentiometer, or most of the time it is also known as a pot. So you might have heard this word pot. So the most popular word is pot. Instead of calling it as a potentiometer, you please bring that pot. The pot in a sense, not a bucket or a small bucket type of, that is not a pot. Here pot means from electronic point of view, it is a potentiometer. The operating principle of this sensor is based on the following equation of the wire resistor. So we have already studied this resistivity principle in previous chapters. So we know that the resistivity of any wire, it depends upon R is equal to rho into L by A, where rho is equal to specific resistivity, L is the length of the conductor, and A is the cross sectional area of the conductor. So if rho is the specific resistivity, if it is kept constant, then R is directly proportional to the length of the wire and inversely proportional to the cross sectional area of the wire. So this is what the basic principle is used. Now by making the object to control the length of the wire, as it is done in potentiometer, the displacement measurement can be performed. So if you are using the wire type of system or wire potentiometer, there are different types of potentiometer available. Film potentiometers are also available, the carbon potentiometers are also available, wire potentiometers are also available. So depending on that, you have to choose, depending on your application, you have to choose the potentiometer. So here we will consider, we are considering that initially we will be going with wire type of potential. So resistance measurement requires the passage of electric current that has to be passed through the potentiometric wire. Then potentiometric transducer is active type of transducer. Why it is active type of transducer? Because you will be requiring external excitation for that one. That means you have to apply the external voltage, then and then only the current will pass through that transducer. So DC current will pass through because you will be applying a constant battery voltage. Now the stimulus, that is a displacement, is coupled with a pot wiper. We will see how it is the displacement will takes place and how it is measured. So you will understand with the help of diagram. So actually the displacement is given to the moving part, that is called as a wiper, moving part of the potentiometer. So that displacement is given. So that displacement may be a linear displacement. If it is a linear displacement, then in that case it is a linear pot, and if it is an angular displacement, then it is a that means if you rotate the pot, just like your volume control of your radio or any devices, volume control nowadays linear on your mobile, linear devices are available. That means linear levels, you need to adjust it, and accordingly your volume gets controlled. But in old days we used to control the volume. We just try to get the example of your CRO. Just see that CRO, on that CRO you are trying to adjust the beam to the center level with the help of position knob. That position knob is nothing but a potentiometer, which is allowing you to move the cursor upward or downward. Okay, so or horizontally, that is also possible. So this is called as an angular movement, angular wiper, angular pot, you will be using it. So resistance measurement is replaced by the measurement of voltage drop. So here whatever may be the impact of resistance or the effect that will cause because of environmental factors or external factors, such as a temperature is changed, resistance is going to change, and other parameters are going to change. So instead of that, whatever may be the parameters you are going to check, So instead of using the resistance, you are measuring the voltage. So resistance will not came into picture, your directly voltage will be coming over here. So here it is the circuit diagram shown. So this is the potentiometer having maximum displacement D. This is the maximum displacement D. Okay, this is the maximum, and here it is the displacement with respect to this ground. Now what you will move? You will move from this position and you will move towards the maximum one. You will move towards the maximum one, and whatever may be the voltage is there, that voltage you are going to measure with respect to this point. That's why it is shown the maximum distance D. So this is considered to be a ground at ground potential. So distance D is measured with respect to this one. So how you are going to calculate the voltage V? So V is given by E. So this is another example of a variable resistor. So this variable resistor will help you to find out the liquid level of your tank. So as soon as tank will reach to this level, or level will reach to this one, your float will be over here. Your float will be over here, and that will going to change the resistance value. And if a particular threshold will be obtained, you can switch off your motor with the help of electronic circuitry or interfacing circuitry. So that is how this linear variable resistor will be used for measuring the level of your tank. That is also quite possible. So the example is shown over here. So how you are going to measure the voltage? So you can measure the voltage D using this equation. So V is equal to E into D by D. So V is directly proportional to, now you can see that this E is constant, this T is constant. So E is the battery voltage, you have to maintain it constant, and if you don't maintain it constant, obviously it is going to change your output voltage. So we'll assume that this E is constant. Now D is constant, maximum displacement is again constant. Now if these two parameters are constant, I can say that V is directly proportional to D. V is directly proportional to D. So output voltage is directly proportional to linear displacement. Is directly proportional to linear displacement. This is how you are going to measure the voltage. Okay. So if appropriate load is not used, then in that case you can easily create the relation between the wiper position and the output voltage. Now here it is the example how exactly the voltage is changing. Now you can consider that the voltage is here, it is the voltage. Okay, now from this position it is changing. Now you can see that when you move towards this voltage, the voltage is going to increase, and see the voltage is increased, and when you come down the voltage is decreased. Okay, so this is the simplest example, or this is the simplest way. This is how a linear position can be maintained. Now you can see that this E is constant. Now it is moving in linear steps. It is moving in linear steps. So when it is moving in linear steps, so the voltage is increased by 5. The voltage is increased by 5. So this is the example of potentiometric sensor. Okay. Okay. So this is how the potentiometric sensors are used for displacement, as well as the same if you apply with some mechanical mechanism, then you can use it for measurement of your level indications also. So this is how you can use it. Now let us consider that this is the level and this is the float which is measuring, which is connected to this resistor. Okay, and as the level goes on increasing, you can put it to the different types of LEDs. Okay, so these LEDs which are connected at different levels. So these LEDs goes on increasing, and that LED will also show you the linear displacement of your level, and you will identify, okay, this is what the level of your liquid in the tank, this is what the level of your liquid in the tank, and that is also quite possible. So some of you may take this one as a small project. So the first come first based, they can come up with the such kind of a small project. So a displacement level displacement, you can show it with the help of LED indication. The other group can take an application like that. You can develop a small circuit which will control the level of your liquid at certain point, at certain threshold. That is also quite possible. So you can take such kind of projects. Okay. So the output of this sensor is proportional to the excitation voltage that is applied across the sensor, which must be kept constant, and if that is not constant, obviously there will be error in the output. So the potentiometric sensor is a ratiometric device, hence the resistance part is not the part of equation. Okay. Its stability over the temperature virtually has no effect on the accuracy, because resistance itself is not the part of your output voltage. So output voltage will be directly proportional to the displacement. So for the low power application, high impedance pots are desirable. Considering the load effect, if you consider the load effect of next interfacing circuits, most of the time voltage follow circuits are used. Voltage follow circuit means unity gain amplifier. If you are using the operational amplifier, then in that case you have to use unity gain amplifier. So if the coil of the potentiometer, if you are using a wire type of resistor potentiometer, then in that case, if n turns are there, then in that case you have to use the average resolution n should be considered. That means you are taking the average value of that one. So n is equal to 100 divided by n%. So how many turns are there? So you will be taking the average of that one. Why you are taking the average of that one? You can see with the help of diagram. So a wire wound potentiometer, a wiper may, when you are moving the wiper, so that wiper may came in a contact with one or two wires simultaneously. One or two wires simultaneously. That means it is not moving smoothly from one wire to next wire. So there is uneven voltage steps are there. So uneven voltage steps are there. So for that purpose you have to take. Now this is what? This is the wiper is moving. Here it is the wiper is moving. Okay. So when you move it, now let us consider that wiper comes over here. Wiper comes over here in this position. What will happen? It is in connection with this one also and this one also. Okay. So the two connections are there. Okay, the example is given here. This is the example of that two wires connection. So what will happen because of that? So you will be getting such kind of steps. One is big one, second one is small one, again big one, small one, big one, small one. So such steps you will be getting. So these steps are uneven. So for that purpose you have to take the average value of that one. You have to take the average value of that one. That's why the previous equation has shown 100 divided by n. So n is the number of steps or the number of wire turns that you need to consider. As the number of wire turns will be increasing, obviously your average will be accordingly. So the force which is required to move the wiper come from the measured object. That means it requires a force. So there is a friction. So because of that friction, what will happen? There is an resulting energy which will dissipate in the form of heat. So most of the time wire wound resistors or wire wound potentiometers, they are producing the heat. They are producing the heat, and this heat is dissipated, and you will find that when you use the maximum wipers, so you might have used such kind of potentiometer, you call it as a rheostat. You might have used the rheostat in your physics labs. So whenever you are passing the currents, and if you keep moving for a longer time, that rheostat gets heated, and that heat is nothing but because of the force that you are applying to the wiper, and that friction force will cause, as well as the current is flowing through that one, and that energy will get dissipated in the form of heat. Okay. So high quality resistive films, film potential also will provide you the infinite resolution, so that is also quite possible. Then the continuous resolution pots are fabricated with a conductive plastic or carbon film or metal film or ceramic metal mix, which is also known as a cermet, So you might be knowing what kind of cermets it is. So you can have a multi-turn pots also, that is also called as a, many time it is called as a preset. So preset means a small potentiometer with a single turn also, and with a multi-turn. With a multi-turn, what you will get a maximum resolution. That means the resolution is very high for a multi-turn type of potentiometer. For that purpose, such presets are used in many applications where you want a resolution, a high resolution. Then in that case you have to use such kind of cermets or presets. Okay. So the wiper of the precision potential are made up of precious metal alloys, so that wear and tear should not be there. So you can avoid the wear and tear of your contacts that is coming with the resistive material and the wiper. So it will provide you the long life of your sensor. So apart from that, even though there are many applications of potentiometer, there are certain disadvantage of the potentiometer. The first disadvantage is that there is a mechanical load. That means you are displacing a particular wiper, so there is a mechanical load, so it will cause a friction. Then there is a need for coupling, physical coupling with the object. So you have to couple that wiper with a moving object, so that you can measure a displacement. Then the speed is low. The friction and excitation voltage may cause a heating of a potentiometer, and low environmental stability is another drawback of the potentiometer sensor. So with that we came to the end of potentiometric sensor. In next we are going to see the next sensor as a capacitive sensor. So if you have any question or any query, you can put it on YouTube so that I can answer your questions. Okay, the next sensor which is used for the position and displacement is capacitive sensor. Again, the capacitive sensors are also used for measurement of level detectors also, level detection also. So we know that in previous lectures we have seen how the capacitive sensor is used for measurement of level measurement. So we know that the basic principle which is used for capacitor is directly used for a gauge displacement or position. So it can be also applied as a building block in other sensors where the displacement is produced by force, pressure or temperature or any other parameter that can be mixed together, so that you can measure the other parameters also. Okay. So we can measure such kind of system with the help of capacitive sensors. So you can see the capacitive sensors are useful for force measurement, pressure measurement, temperature measurement, as well as it is used for position, displacement and level measurement also. Okay. Now the ability of capacitive detector is to sense virtually all materials, make them an attractive choice. So we can see how in many applications these capacitive sensors are very useful. Nowadays the capacitive sensors are used in your mobiles also, so as a touch sensor. Okay, so your screen, touch screen is made up of with this principle only, capacitive sensors. Okay, so the operating principle of the capacitive gauge or proximity or a position sensor is based on changing either. So we know that the capacitance C, it depends upon the three parameters. It depends upon the dielectric material. Okay, what I'll do, it depends upon the distance between the two plates, and it depends upon the cross sectional area of the plates. Okay. Okay, this is the epsilon value. Epsilon value is the dielectric constant, that means which kind of material you are using. So these three parameters will help you to find out. So geometry, so distance and A, that becomes a part of geometry, and the conductive or dielectric material that will form, that will change the capacitance also. So this variation will be because of these three parameters, and the same principle is used for the measurement of displacement or position or level. Okay, so when the capacitance changes, it can be covered into it can be converted into variable electrical signal. So we can convert it into the charge, whatever may be the, if the capacitance is changing. So we know that C is equal to d q di by dt, that equation is there, or dv by dt is there. So q is equal to dv by dt, that equations are there, and we using such kind of equations we can easily convert it into electrical signal. So this is how then you can have the sensors which are used in different modes also. You can use it in monopolar, that means a single capacitor you can use it. You can use a differential mode also. You can use two capacitors in opposite polarities. It is called as a differential mode, or you can use it as a capacitive bridge also, that means 4 capacitors are used. Nowadays the 4 capacitors are generally utilized, or the bridge is generally utilized because of its sensitivity. So 2 or 4 capacitors are used. 1 or 2 more capacitors are either fixed or variable in opposite phase, so that you can check the voltage. Here now you can see how it is used for the measurement of displacement. I can show you. Now this is the center, this is the center plate, this is the center plate, which is kept at x0 distance from C1 and x0 distance from C2. So this distance is fixed, x0 and x0. So what will be the output? So output generated at this C1, because of C1, will be considered that it will be plus V0 sin omega t. Let us consider it that. What will be the output at this one? It will be minus V0 sin omega t. So whatever may be the output generated because of that one. So that output, this is the output voltage. This is the excitation voltage you have given. It is the inverted one, and output, if you take out of this, so that output will be exactly of opposite polarity, and that will cancel each other, and output will be 0. That means there is no displacement, and you will say that the sensor is in balance condition. The sensor is in balance condition. Now the second diagram, you can see here it is the displacement is there. Now it is moved towards this one, so there is a displacement. Now you can see that here exactly it is at the balance mode. now it is moving towards this C2. So what will happen? It will increase the distance by x. It will increase the distance by x for C1, and it will reduce the distance by x0 minus x. So it will reduce the distance by minus x. So for C1 the distance is increased by plus x, and for C2 the distance is reduced by x. Now whatever may be the output is generated. Now this voltage plus V and minus V sin omega t is applied over here, but whatever may be the output you will be taking out of this. Now initially here it was a equal output, that means here it is a positive and here it is a negative, so that is going to cancel each other. But in this case the output may not be equal, that's why you will be getting the output, some output, and that output is proportional to this displacement, and we can show it with the help of equations also. So let us assume that the same thing is explained with the help of text. So what will happen? The capacitance will be changed because of change in plate, a change in movement of center plate. Now what will happen? C1 will be shown because the area is constant, epsilon A is constant. Now what has changed? Distance has changed. What has changed? Distance has changed. Okay, so C1 will depend upon these parameters. C1 will depend upon this parameter. So x0 plus x. Now C2 has again changed because the displacement has changed for C2. So C1 and C2, the displacement has changed, so C1 is going to change, C2 is going to change, and because of that the overall capacitance is going to change, and the amplitude of the output voltage will be given by V out is equal to V0 into minus x upon x0 plus x plus delta C. So delta C is nothing but a change in capacitance of C1 and C2 divided by total capacitance. So this is how you can see that the output is proportional to the displacement. So the application of capacitive sensors are generally you can use such kind of capacitive sensors to measure the high frequencies as a capacitive probes which operates in the range of 3 megahertz, and it can be used to detect a very fast moving targets. So you can use it in a probe, you can use it for a capacitive proximity sensor, you can use it for measuring the level also. So such kind of capacitive sensors are used in many applications, many applications are there. It can be used for touch, you may measure the force, you can measure the displacement. So if the plate is there, I'll give you the example of the displacement. So this plate is moving plate and this plate is a fixed one. Okay, so there is a dielectric between this, and if you put a pressure on this plate, what will happen? It will displace, so it will act as a transducer. So what will happen? So this D is going to change, So this displacement is because of pressure applied. So pressure is converted into displacement and displacement is converted into your change in capacitance, and that change in capacitance is proportional to displacement. This is what the simple principle used for measurement of your force or any pressure that you are applying on the surface of capacitance plate. So this is another application. So there are n number of applications where you can use the capacitive sensors. So to improve the sensitivity and to reduce the fringing effect, most of the time shielding is used. So we know that the capacitance, the charge may cause the sensitivity problem as well as the fringing effect. So for that purpose shielding is used. So how the shielding is done, you can see that. So here it is, the external case is there. So that external case is connected directly to the ground. So this is called as a shielding. And this capacitive sensor whose output is directly given to the follower, and you will be taking the output out of that one. So this will shield whatever may be the external effects are there, external parameters that are going to affect your capacitive value. So that is shielded by this shielding effect. So these fringe effects you can shield it easily, and you can improve the sensitivity of your sensor. So the capacitive bridge has become increasingly popular nowadays in the design of displacement sensor. Now you can see that there are 4 plates. There are 4 plates. These 4 plates, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let us consider, we start with this one. Let us consider this 1, 2, this is 3, and this is 4. Okay. So these are the 4 plates which are fixed one. These are the stationary plates, and there are 2 plates. There are 2 plates which are moving. Now what will happen when these 2 plates, at center place, that means there is a equal area covered by these 2 plates. So Q is covering half of the portion and half of the portion with this one, and P is covering half of the portion with this one and half of the portion with this one. At that time, so the capacitive bridge is completely balanced. Capacitive bridge is completely balanced because the area overlapped because of that one is common. So displacement distance is also common. This distance is also common. So area is common, displacement is common, the dielectric is constant is also common. So there is no change in capacitance. So the bridge is balanced. Now what will happen if you move any of the plate? If you move any of the plate, or if you move both the plates in any direction, either upward, either horizontal, right, or in x, y, z direction. So let us consider that this is x direction, this is y direction, and this is z direction. So z direction will change the displacement. This is going to change the x value, this is going to change the y value, and this is going to change the overall parameter. So the bridge will get unbalanced. So value of capacitance C1, C2, C3 and C4 will be changed accordingly, because the area is changing, the displacement is changing depending on what kind of displacement you are taking. If it is x, area will change. If it is x and y, area will change. If it is z, then displacement will the distance between the 2 plates will change. Okay. So this is going to change the parameters, and accordingly the bridge will get imbalanced, and whatever may be the imbalance will be there, that imbalance will be directly proportional to the displacement. So this is what the simple principle used in capacitive sensor. So stationary electrodes are the elements, and there are 2 moving elements. So all the 6 elements are having the same dimension B. So the excitation voltage that you are applying over here having the frequency of 5 to 50 kilohertz. So the voltage difference between the pair of the moving plate is sensed by the differential amplifier, and it is amplified, whose output is connected to the input of a synchronous detector. So the value of C1 is given by C1 is equal to epsilon B, where B is the cross sectional area, divided by D into L by 2 plus X. So similarly you can have the value of C2, C3, C4. So C2, C3, C4 are having the same values. So they are connected in opposite direction. So C1 is equal to C3 and C2 is equal to C4. This is how you are going to design, and they are connected in opposite way. So the mutual shift of the plates that is going to with respect to fully symmetric position results in the bridge disbalance, and this disbalance there is a phase sensitive output is there, which is measured by the differential amplifier, and that output is proportional to the displacement. So an advantage of capacitive bridge circuit is linearity, and noise immunity. So this is what the advantage of this bridge capacitor. It will provide you the linearity as well as it will immune to the noise. So whatever may be the noise will cause that is going to cancel with each other, because the two capacitors are in opposite directions, so that will cancel. So the rotary mesh, the same principle of the bridge can be also used for the rotary motion, and you can connect the bridge in rotary also. So previously we used to have and most of the time such kind of capacitors we used to call it as a gang capacitors. So these gang capacitors we used to connect these plates. Now I can show you the principle of that one, how you can connect it. So this is, let us consider that these are the capacitors, and to this, this is stationary one, this is stationary, so I'll write it as a stationary, and this is rotatory. So if I rotate it, so the overlapping area is going to change, the distance may not change because here the distance option is not available to you. So rotary mostly it will cover the cross sectional area, so the cross sectional area is going to change and this is going to disbalance your circuit. So this is how you can have a capacitive bridge, you can use it as a capacitor sensor. Okay.